What's up, my friends? Welcome to another edition of the Rhythm Section Tulsa. It has been way too long since I've done a podcast, and part of that has been I haven't had very many people who have had the time to come on the show, either because we're several miles away from each other or schedules have just been too busy. So I figured I would just have a podcast by myself, see how this goes, experiment a little bit, see if I can maintain a 15-minute, not really conversation with myself, but just sort of talking about what's been going on in my life, in the music world, and in the world in general. And I don't know, just thought I would see how this goes. Things have been going really good with our band. Our song has dipped a little bit in the charts, Gypsy Soul, but we're hoping that'll pick up pretty soon. But the other day we were playing in where was it? Shawnee. We were playing in Shawnee, and that was a pretty fun show. It's always fun playing at Brick House Saloon. We ended up doing an interview for our next possible drummer. His name is Kyle, and have a good feeling about him. He had a really good attitude about him. He brought some friends over, and a lot of times if a drummer, whenever we've interviewed a drummer, they usually bring friends to watch us play, but they don't pay attention at all to us. They'll go drink, they'll step outside, they don't really pay attention. But this guy, he ended up sitting right next to the stage, watching Jason play and seeing how he plays, how we structured our songs. And then he ended up getting up and jamming with us a couple songs, and he did pretty good overall. He had a couple of mess ups, but that was just, I think, had to do with nerves. He never really played on stage before, and once he got settled in, he did really good. But again, part of the reason why I really like him is just he has good personality. We seem to. It seems like we would be able to get along with him, which that's a very important part of being in a band, is getting along with everyone. But he had this fire, reminds me of me when I was younger. Reminds me of Will, our previous drummer, when he was first starting out. This is what he craves to do. He wants to play. He's never really been in a serious band, and I don't think he ever played on stage other than at church before. And you can just tell he's hungry, and it was a pretty neat experience to, it kind of, like I said earlier, it takes me back to when I was, itching to play with somebody, and I had a band audition. I practiced for hours, made sure I had everything down, went in, played, had that nervous energy, constantly asking, hey, how'd I do? How was that? Did you like that? Do you want me to do it differently? And I don't know. I like Kyle. I like Kyle a lot. I think we're going to give him a couple more chances to play, make sure that he is serious about it, but I think he is. I think I have a good feeling about this guy. Let's see, what else has been going on with me? I've been messing with school so much. I got about a year left before I get my master's, and I don't know. It's getting frustrating. I'm doing this statistics course, which is some of the hardest math I've ever done. And it's not really even the math itself, it's the definitions. Because if you tell me solve this problem, I can solve the problem, but then my teacher wants me to explain what the problem is asking me to find exactly, and to define the different parts of these equations. It's just rough. I'm ready for school to be over. My my mom has this opinion. Either my mom said this, or my uncle, or my mom repeated what my uncle said. But really, all college is, it's just seeing if you can put up with at least 4 years of bullcrap. If you can do that, then companies will take seriously the fact that you can put up with bullcrap at your job. And that's that's really what separates a college graduate from someone who didn't go to college, is that degree shows that you're willing to put up with a bunch of crap. Not saying that anyone who doesn't go to college couldn't put up with it. There's obviously several different reasonable reasons why somebody wouldn't want to go to college, and I'm not even trying to say that you need to go to college to get a good job, because you don't. But I think a lot of companies will look, even if your degree is in a field that has nothing to do with the job you're applying for. Like my cousin, he has a history degree, but he sells steel. I mean, those two degrees have nothing in common. There's no marketing, there's no sales in a history degree. But the company just saw, hey, he was able to put up with 4 years of crap. So I think we can trust getting him to come on to our company and see how he does. Anyway, I don't know what I'm saying, but yeah, I'm ready to get this college degree over. Working on my master's, trying to be able to teach, maybe teach accounting in college, which accounting is what I have my undergrad in. Oh, and another reason why I wanted to do this solo podcast is so that you guys can get to know me a little better. Whenever I do an interview, I am focusing on the other person. I want to know how they got their start, what they like, what they don't like. But I never. Sometimes I'll get to tell a story of mine, but I want to focus on the guest. But I figured that, you guys, whether it be, I probably only have like 2 listeners, whatever, but you guys get to hear a little bit about my life and my music career. Let's see, I started playing, my very first instrument I ever tried to play. My mom made me try to play piano, and I hated it. And then a couple years later, I want to say it was like 13, my grandpa got me a clarinet, and I tried that. And I enjoyed it, but it got to a certain point where wind instruments are very tough to play. Anyone that is a good wind or brass player always has my respect. Especially once I had to get to the higher registered notes, it just got ridiculous. It hurt my throat too much to play. So I like clarinet. I tried playing a couple times. The lower register stuff I was good at, but once it got to the higher register, I just gave up. I was done. And for years, I thought that I was going to be a professional baseball player, so I kind of gave up on clarinet. But then I got to high school and realized that I didn't like other people's job writing on how well I pitch. It was just too much pressure. I love sports. I still love playing sports. In fact, I just got done playing one-on-one basketball at TCC, which is for people outside of Tulsa. That's Tulsa Community College, which I got. I'm an alumni there, so I get to go use their facilities. Got to use their indoor basketball gym, which it's too windy outside today, so that's why I wanted to go inside and play. So sports is still really important to me. Still love watching baseball, basketball, football. The Thunder just made it to the playoffs. They clinched it the night before last, I believe. They beat the Heat, and And I'm excited that they made it to the playoffs again this year, because this is the year that Melo and Paul George are probably going to be on the Thunder. This is probably going to be the only time both of them are probably going to leave, more than likely. But anyway, sports is still an important part of my life, and I still enjoy playing it. But once I started seeing how much pressure was involved in actually trying to make sports a career, it turned me off to it. I just wanted to play for fun and for exercise. So what I ended up doing, I didn't really know what I wanted to do for a while. I knew that I wanted to go to college, and I figured that I would do something in math since I'm pretty good at math. So I decided to major in accounting. But around the time I was, 15 or 16, my uncle sent my family a 4-stringed Dean bass, and then some bass amp that ended up crapping out. But I always thought that if I were to try to get into music again, I would try to play bass. And my thinking was, that thing only has 4 strings. I only have to worry about one note at a time. So I could pick that up a lot easier than guitar. So when I got it, I had my brother and my dad show me a couple songs that I could play to. Nothing crazy. They had me play some old folk songs, which really just consisted of 3 notes, and I got pretty good at timing and rhythm, and but I ended up getting more interested in it, and I wanted to be able to play whenever my uncle would come out to our house to hang out and play music. Whenever he would do that, I never played any instrument, so I always felt a little left out. But once I started playing bass, I realized that I could play with them and have a little more fun. So I went to my guitar teacher, Larry Robinson, who is still a good friend of mine. He basically taught me everything I knew, and I kind of liked his teaching philosophy. He asked me what song I wanted to learn to get the hooks in, to make me want to come back and learn more. And the first song I ever learned how to play with him was Xanadu by Rush, which is a very difficult first song to learn. And what I like about that was, after a couple weeks of working on that, he said, all right, is there anything else you want to learn? And I said, I want to learn how to be able to improvise and jam with other musicians. Which, if I had just gone in and said I wanted to do that, all he would be showing me were scales and keys and circle of fifths and stuff like that. And that doesn't really grab the interest of someone. I think it's better to say, hey, you want to learn how to play this song? And then you play it and then say, hey, do you want to understand why this song works in music? I kind of like that approach a little more than just saying, okay, this is a flatted fourth, this goes with this chord. It's too much math to really start off with in learning the guitar. It's just not that interesting. So anyway, I ended up wanting to just be able to play music with my dad, my brother, and my uncle. And then it kind of graduated to, okay, I know a lot of my friends play music. I kind of want to jam with them. So we would get together, we'd do a jam session. And that ended up growing to thinking, all right, well, now that I know how music theory works, I've jammed with people before, I kind of want to start performing on stage. And my next step was playing music at church. And I ended up getting to play music for the children's service at Church on the Move, which is probably in Oklahoma the best music you'll ever hear at church. They are musically tight. Every single musician there could be playing music for. They could be session musicians for just about anyone in the business that they wanted to, but they play at church. And it was a great experience. It's such a big church that the youth group that I played for, I think they were all like 5 and 6 years old, so they were kids, but there was like 200 or 300 of them in a service. So I got used to playing in front of big crowds, even though there were a bunch of little kids. And I also got used to, rehearsal. Practice is on Wednesday, rehearsal is on Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday is when we play. We had a legitimate stage. We had a section for the bass, section for the drums, etc., etc. And we had radio packs that I got used to playing. And for the uninitiated, what they call body packs are, if you ever notice when a musician is playing, a lot of times they have what looks like a hearing aid in their ear, or maybe a headphone or something. What happens is the house, what they call the house speakers, the speakers over the stage, and all the amplifiers, they are in front of the musicians, going out towards the fans. When you're on stage, you really can't hear anything. You can hear drums decently, but you can't, whenever you're playing, say bass, you can't hear the bass at all while you're on stage. You can't hear guitars at all while you're on stage. You can't hear vocals at all while you're on stage. So they have two different options that they do. They have what they call monitors, where it's basically like a set of speakers or an amplifier that's pointing at the musician, and you can say, all right, turn the bass up, turn the vocals up, turn the guitars up, give me a little less drum kick, whatever. Or they have what they call in-ear monitors, and that's what looks like the hearing aids. And so at Church on the Move, the kids' service was large enough where the musicians needed to be able to hear what was going on, because they didn't have on-stage monitors. So I got used to an in-ear pack and being able to create my own mix. Say I want this musician louder, I want the singer louder, so that I could feel comfortable with playing. So church was a huge learning experience for me. It gave me several years of experience in just playing with them for the few months that I did. Then after that, I had met some people at church that wanted to get a band going. We did. It didn't really work out, but at the Battle of the Bands that we ended up playing for, that's when I met Bryce. And I met him, talked to him, always, we added each other on Facebook, kept in touch, and when the band I was playing in didn't work out, I ended up giving Bryce Dykes a call. And I actually had a different connection. And our old drummer went and started playing with Bryce, and he brought me along because they needed a new bass player. And once I started joining with him, I started having fun and saw how serious Bryce took it, and how hard Bryce works, and how many shows Bryce plays. And I was like, okay, this is my guy. And ever since then, I've been his bass player. And I think, when did I join him? I think I tried out for him April in 2015, because that was around the time I was graduating college. And my first show with him was in June. So I practiced, we rehearsed, then I played in June. And then after that, that's pretty much what got me to here. How many years ago was that? That'd be 3 years. I'll be playing with Bryce for 3 years this month. And it's been incredible. It's been great. We've had songs on the radio. We've played for acts like, we've opened for acts like Shenandoah. We've opened for acts like Aaron Watson, Dom Domino, Sam Riggs, Kyle Park, Cody Canada and The Departed, Bo Phillips. It's been incredible incredible experience. Jason Boland. I'm probably going to be thinking of more and more artists as it goes. But I ended up meeting a lot of good friends, a lot of good contacts through just playing with Bryce, and that's something I'm always going to be thankful for. From here on out, even if I were to quit music today, I could tell my grandkids that a song that I recorded was on the Texas charts at one point. We've gotten to play at Kane's Ballroom. My name is written somewhere backstage. I can be able to point and say I stood on that historical stage and was able to play, and I was able to hold my own as far as bass players goes. I don't know. It's been a lot of fun, and I think that we're going to end up playing even more shows and having a lot more fun than we already have. Let's see. That's pretty much the history of me playing music, which I don't think I've ever fully gotten to explain to the audience of whoever listens. If you listen to this podcast, comment on it. I want to know about you. I want to know what kind of music you like. What kind of, if you have any musicians you think would be good on the podcast, give me a message. I usually message back. Just don't be a weirdo. Just don't be a weirdo, and I will message you back. Let's see. I actually do have another interview lined up for tomorrow. I don't know when I'm going to post this. I'm probably going to post this episode tonight. But tomorrow I am interviewing a good friend from ORU, an old classmate of mine. His name is Albert Owens. Albert Owens, it's going to be an interesting podcast because he doesn't play music, but he is a very he's a very accomplished athlete as far as being able to play in Division I NCAA basketball. He plays for Oral Roberts University. He was a starting center, and now I think he is their sixth man. But I mean, Albert's a great guy, really nice. Had a couple classes with him. He's just a genuinely nice guy. I'm always rooting for him. I think if he can catch it, if he can catch the eye of some scouts, whether it be in the NBA or Euro, I really think that he could make some noise on a professional level. So I'm very excited to talk to him. I don't know much about his background. We were friends in college. We've kept in touch, and once he heard that I was doing podcasts, he was interested in it, and I asked if he wanted to be interviewed. And I think I asked him several months ago, but now the basketball season's over, he actually has some time to do it, and he's gonna come over, and I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. Let's see. Show dates. I don't have the show dates with me, but I know a week from Thursday we're going to be in Manhattan, Kansas, for a show, and it's on a Thursday, which is weird. We usually don't go out of town unless it's a Friday or Saturday, but that'll be a Thursday night gig, and I think we have a show Fridays as well, a week from this Friday. So I don't know. I'll post in the description below what shows we have coming up. And you know what? Before I sign off, I think I'm gonna ask myself. Well, I'm not gonna ask myself. That would be stupid. But I'm gonna tell you guys the answers to the 3 questions I always ask my guests. And I've already answered a couple of them, but I'll just say it again. The first album I ever bought with my own money, I believe, was Satellite by P.O.D. That was the album that has Here Comes the Boom, Alive, Youth and Nation, and I still rock that album out. I don't care what people say about new metal. I still love POD. I still love listening to them. I don't know, that whole album from start to finish was a trip, especially when you consider the fact that I grew up on Christian contemporary music. I never really listened to anything else. But when I heard that there was like a heavy Christian band, I was like, I gotta try this out. And it blew my socks off. It changed my life, really. I was introduced to a whole new world of music that just listening to Stephen Curtis Chapman couldn't really provide for me. But I love Stephen Curtis Chapman. Let's see, what's the second question? When did I start playing? I already answered that. I was playing bass at around 15, 16 years old. And then finally, the craziest thing I've ever seen on stage. I think I've explained a couple of them already, but there's been a new one. It's been a while since I've talked to you guys, so I've seen a couple of other things. At the same place that there was a major fight, cop tased somebody, and then a bunch of mace was sprayed everywhere. At the exact same place, another fight broke out, and the owner, I didn't see this fight, but the owner, for some reason, her go-to move is her pepper spray. She pulls out the pepper spray to break the fight off, and I don't know if you guys have ever been around pepper spray. I don't know if tear gas is the same as pepper spray. It probably does the same thing, though. But pepper spray, it doesn't just affect the 5-foot radius of the place that you spray. It affects pretty much the entire building. It was about, I would say, 50 feet away that somebody got sprayed, and it just wafted everywhere. And if you've ever had a spicy pepper, that's what it feels like. It hits the back of your throat. You breathe it in through your nose, which you can bring it in through your mouth, but I was breathing through my nose. It hits the back of my sinuses, and immediately I start sneezing. I think Jason ended up puking. It's the worst feeling in the world. I can't imagine getting sprayed directly in the face from it, because 50 feet away, it was affecting me. And you're sneezing. It feels like you crushed up some pepper and just snorted it. That's what it feels like. And my sinuses were hurting so bad. They were getting so irritated from just sneezing and coughing and blowing my nose. And I think that fight happened between two girls too. And it's always at the end of the show. We're always packing up. Thankfully this time, it wasn't a thunderstorm. It was a nice clear night out. So we were able to step outside and wait for it to disperse. But the last time it happened, there was a torrential downpour, and I think there was lightning. So we didn't feel comfortable with just hanging out outside waiting for everything to settle down. We had to hunker down somewhere in there in the bar and wait for it to pass while we're all sneezing and such. But anyway, I think I'm gonna wrap that up. I've been talking for 29 minutes. So we have a show in Manhattan, Kansas coming up. That will be a week from Thursday. Tomorrow I'm going to have Albert Owens on the podcast. Very excited to talk to him, see him again. He's a good buddy of mine. And if you guys have any suggestions of people that want to be interviewed, or if you want to be interviewed, message me why you should be interviewed. I'm not just going to interview some rando on the street. But anyway, love you guys. Hope you guys have a good week. Again, sorry for the delay in episodes, for those of you who are listening. And we will we will see you again tomorrow. See you guys.